I'm serving 40 years in prison. And before you assume I'm going to blame the system or the judge or the way I was raised, I'm not. The truth is, I deserve this sentence. That's not something I say lightly. It took me years to admit it. Years of anger, denial, and pretending I was a victim of circumstance. But I wasn't. I was the reason someone else never made it home. I was 22 when it happened, old enough to know better, old enough to walk away, but young enough to think I was untouchable. It started as something small, like most tragedies do. A stupid argument in a parking lot outside a bar, alcohol, pride, a crowd watching. There's something about having people around that makes you feel like you have to perform, like you can't back down. He said something about my girlfriend. I shoved him. He shoved back. People circled. Phones came out. And in that moment, I wasn't thinking about consequences. I was thinking about not looking weak. I carried a gun back then. I told myself it was for protection. I told myself it was smart, responsible. But the truth is, I liked how it made me feel. Powerful. That night, when the argument escalated and he swung at me, I didn't have to reach for it. I could have stepped back. I could have let it go. Instead, I pulled it out. I remember the exact sound it made, the shift in the crowd, the sudden silence. And then I fired. It wasn't a warning shot. It wasn't an accident. I pulled the trigger because I was angry, because I wanted to win, because for 1 second, I thought proving myself mattered more than anything else. He fell. And just like that, everything changed. People don't tell you how quiet it gets after something like that. How your brain tries to convince you it didn't just happen. But it did. And there's no undo button in real life. He died at the scene, 24 years old, a son, a brother, an uncle, a person with a future that ended because I needed to protect my ego. When I was arrested, I kept telling myself it wasn't supposed to go that far, like that mattered, like intention somehow cancels impact. In court, when they read the charges, second-degree murder, it felt like they were talking about someone else. But then I saw his mother testify. I saw her hands shaking. I saw the way she looked at me, not with rage, but with something worse. Grief. And that's when the weight of what I'd done finally settled in. The judge sentenced me to 40 years. I remember him saying something about choices, about how a moment of violence can ripple through generations. At the time, I thought he was just giving a speech. Now I understand he was telling the truth. 40 years. I'll be an old man when I get out. And I earned every single one of those years. Prison strips you down to who you really are. Not who you pretend to be. Not who your friends think you are. Not who you post online. Just you and your choices. The first few years, I was angry at everyone except myself. Angry at the victim for arguing. Angry at my friends for not stopping it. Angry at the jury. Angry at the sentence. I told myself 40 years was excessive, that I didn't mean to kill him, that it was just one mistake. But here's the thing about prison. You have time. Endless time. Time to replay the moment over and over. Time to imagine different endings. Time to strip away every excuse until the only thing left is the truth. And the truth is, I chose to pull that trigger. The cell is small, smaller than people imagine. The walls don't move, the bars don't bend. And every morning, when count is called and the lights flick on, you wake up knowing exactly where you are and why. There's no distraction strong enough to silence that. Not workouts, not card games, not TV. When the noise fades at night and you're staring at the ceiling, that's when it hits hardest. I missed my sister's wedding. I missed my father's funeral. I watched my mother age through a thick glass partition in a visitation room. She tries to smile every time she sees me. She tells me to stay strong, but I see it in her eyes, the weight she carries because of my decision. Families don't just lose one person when a crime happens. They lose two. I started taking classes inside: anger management, conflict resolution, psychology. Not because it would reduce my sentence, it won't, but because I needed to understand how someone like me could make a choice like that. The answer wasn't complicated. It was pride. It was insecurity disguised as strength. It was the need to dominate instead of de-escalate. Young guys come in here all the time thinking they're tough. I see myself in them. The same restless energy, the same quick temper, the same belief that respect is something you take by force. I try to talk to them. I tell them what 40 years feels like. Not dramatic, not theatrical, just real. I tell them about watching your life move forward without you, about being frozen in time while the world evolves. Some listen, some don't. I wouldn't have listened at 22 either. But the longer I've been here, the clearer something has become. Accountability isn't weakness. It's freedom of a different kind. I can't change my sentence, but I can stop lying to myself about why I'm serving it. And that's why I say I deserve these 40 years. Because a family deserves the time they lost too. There's a misconception about people serving long sentences, that we stop feeling, that time dulls everything. It doesn't. If anything, time sharpens it. The longer you sit with what you've done, the clearer it becomes. The faces, the courtroom, the sound, the choice. It doesn't fade, it matures. And with that maturity comes something I never had before prison: perspective. 40 years isn't just a number. It's birthdays, it's Christmas mornings, it's empty chairs at family dinners. It's friends who eventually stop writing because their lives move on. It's watching technology change through a television screen. It's realizing the world doesn't pause because you're locked away. The outside keeps spinning, and you're just absent from it. I think about the life he would be living right now. Maybe married, maybe with kids, maybe starting a business. I don't get to know, because I ended that story. And when you truly understand that, something shifts inside you. The anger dissolves. The ego dies. What's left is responsibility. If you're watching this and you're young, if you've ever felt disrespected and thought violence was the answer, listen carefully. There is no argument worth 40 years, no insult worth your entire future. The people cheering you on in the moment won't be there when the cell door closes. The crowd disappears, the adrenaline fades, but the consequences stay. I used to think strength meant standing your ground. Now I know strength is walking away. Strength is swallowing pride. Strength is choosing peace when your ego demands chaos. I can't undo what I did. I can't bring him back. I can't give his family the years I took. But I can tell the truth. I can say without hesitation that the judge wasn't wrong. The system wasn't unfair. My sentence isn't excessive. I'm serving 40 years, and I deserve it. And if my story stops even one person from making the same choice I made, then maybe these years will mean something more than just punishment.